Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
I'm telling you, our Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox is so full right now with, a lot of complaints from Canuck fans. I don't know where to begin, but I will say this, though. We're moving on to a guest. How about that? We'll get to the submissions.
Good guy.
A little bit later. Thomas Drance. Well, you called him something else moments ago.
I know I did.
All of today's guests, it is Friday, right? My head is spinning here. All of today's guests, including Thomas, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. Get ready for winter with an unbeatable stay at the Bayside Oceanfront Resort. This season, they're offering 25% off their best available rate. All winter long on weekday stays with a minimum 2-night booking. Whether it's a cozy coastal getaway or a serene retreat, don't miss this exclusive offer. Call them directly, 250-248-8333, or visit BaysideResortParksville.com to book your event today. Canucks lose to Vegas 3-1. They host Ottawa, start of a 3-game homestand tomorrow at Rogers Arena. Here to talk about the Canucks, as always on a Friday from The Athletic, Thomas Drance. Best of the season to you, Thomas.
Love it.
Gentlemen, how are you?
What do we got there?
Happy holidays. Thanks for having me on all year. Merry Christmas to you and your families.
Right back at you.
Right back at you.
What do we have here sweater-wise?
Is that a dinosaur?
It's a dinosaur, and he's also wearing a holiday sweater.
Are you like a lot of, as a kid, when you were a kid, I was fascinated with dinosaurs. Were you the same way?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to be a paleontologist growing up after seeing Jurassic Park when I was 7. Man, that movie hit. So pure, completely influenced my life. I still can name like hundreds of dinosaurs and on and on. I mean, I was completely obsessed and remain obsessed, to be totally honest with you. I have a lot of dinosaur decorations in my home to go with my leather books that smell like mahogany.
Well, and you mentioned being fascinated with dinosaurs, and now if you look at the Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox, I've become one.
We get called that all the time.
So things have really things have really worked out. All right, Vegas.
The asteroid comes for us all, Donnie.
Yeah. Me sooner than you. Vegas over the Canucks 3-1. Does this team look at all dangerous right now? I'm talking about the Canucks here, Thomas.
Not offensively.
Yeah.
Not offensively, but look, I thought they competed hard in that game. I thought they played a pretty nearly perfect road first period, given the fact that it was the second leg of a back-to-back game. I thought they were pretty unfortunate, frankly, to not be up 2-0 after 20 minutes, given the incredible save Aiden Hill made on Pius Suter right at the side of the net. That's a different game. That's a different game if it's 2-0. And that's kind of sometimes how you have to play when you're the less rested team, right? You need to get that early lead. You need to take your best shot in the game's opening 10 minutes. I thought the Canucks did that. They maybe could have been holding a 2-0 lead and would have had a better shot of doing so as their energy flagged, which it clearly did in the second and third period, and ultimately they lose. You know, that Pietrangelo goal, that's an unfortunate one for Kevin Lankinen to let in. He's been fantastic all season, but some of those low-danger shots have troubled him. We saw it in that game. We saw it on that Pietrangelo goal. And then, you ultimately lose a 1-goal game as the less rested side as a result of a pretty incredible individual effort from William Karlsson to score the game winner. And so, I'm sort of two minds here, Donnie, because I think this team has been getting away with it for much of the past 6 weeks. And it's an easy demarcation point to just look at when JT Miller left the lineup. But since JT Miller left the lineup, this team has been pop gun offensively. You say, do they look dangerous? Not as an attacking team, without question. Like, there is no offensive juice going for this side right now. They've still got talented players. They've still got finishing skill. And in fact, they're converting on their chances at a high enough rate that it's obscured the fact that right now this is the worst offensive team in hockey at even strength, like by a mile. And honestly, I thought you saw the seams of it yesterday, like the confusion in the 6-on-5 situation, right? I can't know because I wasn't at the game, but what I think happened there is that Rick Tocchet didn't want to pull the goalie early because he didn't have Quinn Hughes on the ice. And so instead, when they end up pulling the goalie early, you've got Carson Soucy and Noah Juleson trying to break out with the Canucks net empty, and it went predictably, right?
Yeah.
Like, it went predictably. So I think that's a product of roster composition to some extent. I mean, I can understand why Tocchet was reluctant to pull the goaltender in that situation, why he maybe wanted his team to gain the blue line or the red line, and dump it in before he did so. But, that's life when you don't have Brandstrom or Hronek in the lineup, and Quinn Hughes is your only really reliable puck mover. The top six, they're not getting enough from Pettersson, Besser, JT Miller, Connor Garland's, I think, got one 5-on-5 goal across 26 games, even though he's been one of their most consistent performers. You can't go into Vegas and have Teddy Bluger be your most dangerous offensive player and win. Like, that's not going to work. So, this team needs to find a way to start generating shots. They need to find a way to start playing games in the offensive end of the rink, especially at even strength. They're not doing that right now. And so coming off this 2-game swing, I know there's a lot of criticism for this team in the market, some of it warranted, especially given that I think their form has been poor for longer than their results have been, right? Like, for me, this is a month of poor hockey where they came off that 6-game road swing without JT, and everyone was saying, oh, look, they held the fort so well, but they didn't play well against a who's who of sort of non-playoff teams in the Eastern Conference. So for me, this stretch of poor play extends for more like a month, and that's concerning. And yet I look at these 2 games against Utah and Vegas, and I see a team that ultimately lost to 2 pretty high caliber teams as the less rested side on the road in a back-to-back set, and still picked up 1 point for their efforts. I mean, that's not going to kill you, right? Like, this team is 7 points out of first and 1 point above the playoff bar. It's a season that can yet go either way. And as we've seen from this Canucks team, like, we've seen them play really well. We've seen them play really poorly. So I don't know what's next, but it feels like a lot of what we've seen that's concerning the market that people are upset about. To me, it's more of a problem if it extends for another 10 games, right? It could be arrested here, and this could be a blip in the road. This team has time and the opportunity to get back on track and peak at the right time in the spring. But right now, especially with what they're generating 5-on-5, it's tough to watch on occasion.
What do you, Thomas, make of the Miller-Pettersson rift? The story's kind of taken off this week. First Elliott says Pettersson Buffalo, and now this. Is there a rift in your eyes, and what's going on there?
Yeah, I'm not super up to date on what's transpired over the course of this season, Rick, but I do believe that it's a real thing. I mean, I know it was a real thing in the past, and I think it's become a real thing again, but I don't know the details. And so, neither gentleman has spoken about it. I doubt they will. And so, we're kind of left to read body language and figure it out and guess. And I'm reluctant to do that when I don't know specifically what's going on. What I will say is, I don't know how closely you gentlemen follow football, but one of the Eagles quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and his number 1 wide receiver, A.J. Brown, one of their teammates went on Philadelphia radio and talked about how they're not friends this week. And A.J. Brown still went out and caught a touchdown and 80 yards the next game, right? We've seen with Shaq and Kobe, we've seen teammates that aren't besties win games and win championships across professional sports. And so whatever's going on, this is a team that is pretty talented. This is a team that won the division last year in a division that has Connor McDavid and the Vegas Golden Knights in it. That went to the second round, that won a playoff round last year. This is the same group, so I struggle with the idea that this is a group that can't get along well enough to get it done, just because we've seen them get it done, maybe not to a championship level, but certainly to a super competitive level. Just last year, not even in the past, in the recent past. I'm sure everyone's working on it. I see. It boggles the mind that this is something that couldn't be worked out.
Thomas, if the inconsistency continues in January, I think we know Jim Rutherford well enough. He's not going to sit idle.
No.
There's going to be a shakeup if this inconsistency continues after the Christmas freeze.
Yeah, and we've seen Jim Rutherford in the past in his career react aggressively when he thinks his team has a shot to bring in star-level contributors. But we've also seen him react decisively to change the chemistry in the room, including dealing star players to do so if he feels like that's necessary. And so, it does feel like the next 6-7 weeks are a bit of an inflection point for this team. This club's been careful to maximize their flexibility cap-wise. They've been careful, I think, about sort of how they've constructed this group to make sure that they're positioned to take a big swing if that's what they deem to be appropriate. And yet, if this team's form goes the other way over the next 6 or 7 weeks, there's a lot of valuable players on this roster, and we'll see sort of how they approach decisions. Like, if this team's inconsistency continues, how does that impact Brock Besser's contract, right? How does that impact extension talks with Pius Suter or Kevin Lankinen, right? How does that impact the club's posture ahead of the deadline? It does feel like this is going to be a high stakes stretch run here that the club's about to get into on the other side of the holidays, and that's as it should be. There's big decisions to make, whether you're going for it or whether or not you're deciding to keep your powder dry. This team has the talent to do an awful lot of things. It's just that we need to see it night to night before we know it's real.
Okay, Dinosaur Nerd, have you got a monitor there? You can see if we run something here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, I don't know. I can see it when Ryan, I saw the 6 on 5. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, named it.
Oh,
very good.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Stegosaurus. Very good. Very good.
That's an easy one. I thought you guys were going to give me something more eccentric.
Next time. Okay.
Next time.
People can look forward to that,
Perfect.
Thomas, okay? All right?
I look forward to the flashcards. Tell my old sparring partner I say hi.
Oh, yes, Travis Green on the
Green.
show.
Oh,
11:30.
yes, your old pal there, Travis Green.
All right. Very impressive. Hey, Thomas, this is our last time with you before Christmas. All the best, my friend. Have a great one.
To you guys as well. We'll see you on the other side of the holiday. All the best to you and your families.
You bet.
And to all your viewers' families, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Yes, needless to say. Thanks, Thomas. Love the sweater.